All right, welcome back to Mixed Media. We just finished Ben's segment, which was an interview with a composer that whose music we reviewed last time, uh, and yeah, that's super interesting. So you can check out that episode if you missed that. But now we're on to the video game section, and I will be talking about exclusives, specifically console exclusives, and I'm going to be making a case for why they should exist, which is a very, very, very unpopular opinion. In fact, I don't know if I know a single person who shares this opinion.
Hot
At
take
least not
time.
personal. Yeah, clearly the people who are making these exclusives are chill with it. But I've never personally spoken to someone who's been like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. But all right, let's get into it. Firstly, the definition of what a exclusive is. So, or at least particularly the ones I'm talking about here, right? So, an exclusive is a game that is developed for for one or more platforms, but not, the three main ones, or I guess four. Okay, I'm gonna say like not three main ones, right? So not PC, Xbox, and PlayStation altogether, right? Um, and either never ported to the other platforms or they're ported upon an agreed upon time that is set by the platform's manufacturer, or like Microsoft, Sony, or well, in
Mm.
the case of PC, there is no platform manufacturer like that. But yeah, so I guess PC exclusives don't exist in the way I'm talking about them. Although they technically exist, the way I'm talking about them, they're not relevant. Let me get into why they're good. So the developer gets money, right? And this is, pretty clear. So the way the deal works is usually like Microsoft's like, hey, or I guess like Sony's like, hey, Naughty Dog, like just develop The Last of Us for PlayStation, and we'll give you like X amount of dollars, right? And some deals say like X amount, like we'll give you this amount of money, but you have to keep it on our platform only, but only for a certain amount of time. And like Naughty Dog's case is just forever, as far as I'm aware. So you get stuff like that. And Naughty Dog's like, oh yeah, this makes sense for me. So I'm going to take the hit on the amount of people who are going to be buying my games because not literally everyone has a PlayStation. But I'll get that upfront cash, or I don't know if it's upfront, but they'll get some cash from Sony. So why is this good? Well, it puts the developers in a safer position financially. So if you think about like this is more relevant towards smaller developers, maybe indie developers, it's sort of a scary state to be in when you're small and you don't know if your game's going to sell, right? Because your business relies on it selling. And bigger companies can take a hit, right? Like they can it's okay. They have enough money saved over the years that if their game doesn't perform well, it's okay. They still have backup reserves of money and they can build a new game and hopefully that'll do it. But for small developers, this is actually a problem. The video game industry is a notoriously poor paying one. So for the indie developer, they don't necessarily have the means to take the hit, and without having to like get another job, right? And that's going to definitely take a toll on the quality of the game. So yeah, they're going to be in a nicer financial position, which means you get a lot of bonuses from that. So one is I guess more relevant towards the I guess bigger players, the AAA scene, is that you have a bit more room to experiment, right? So I mean, say what you will about the AAA scene, I guess maybe they don't really experiment much, but at least this gives them the option, right? So if there's a nice, good AAA studio, at least have the option to experiment with things, right? Because if it doesn't go good, then it's okay because at least the platform paid them some money anyways, right? They can allot money from this to future projects, right? So maybe they won't even spend the money on their current project, but at least they know maybe the next game in the series or just another game entirely, they know they can go big on it because they had that paycheck from whoever. And it can bring a happier mental state to the employees of the company, specifically a smaller company where they actually don't know if the company is going to survive, right? So you can pay your employees more, or you could, save that and you not have to worry about, the employees don't have to worry as much about losing their job anymore because they know that your next game is already funded. And yeah, so for the consumers, it's also good to some degree, I guess. So for one, the consumers may get a better product, right? So the game, if they got the money up front, then the game development company may choose to put it back into the current game that they're, making and stuff like that. So, increased budget may mean the game ends up being better. Maybe their art budget's better, maybe their music budget's better, however, or maybe they just allowed to develop it for longer. Because they're doing it for longer, they can be more precise about it and polish it more, stuff like that. And so the consumer, hopefully gets the better product out of it. If not, if they ended up spending the money on something another game down the road, then at least that game is probably going to be better, right? So in some way, shape, or form, will probably end up making the game better. The product is tailored for the platform that you're playing on, right? So maybe it takes advantage of like the PlayStation controllers, like what do you call those things? Like the tension that the variable tension they have in the
Mm.
trigger, right? For Xbox, they really have no unique features, so I guess it's just an L for them. But for like
Rip.
Nintendo stuff, right? Like all their stuff is like random, like unique technology, right? That you can't have elsewhere, right? Like I'm trying to play Wii Sport on a PC. Like it doesn't really sound like a fun time.
No.
Yeah, that's not the point is that the hardware is for it, right? Yeah, as well for the developers, they no longer have to worry about porting, right? So porting being just taking a game from one platform and moving it to another platform. This can be very expensive sometimes, depending on the studio. They may decide to outsource that. So there are companies that are dedicated to porting games. You give them the game, and they're like, "Hey, put this on Xbox. It's currently a PC game," and they're like, "Okay," and they have to end up paying them. I do that, and then it comes out, right?
Hmm.
Problem is sometimes it's buggy, sometimes maybe it works smoothly on one platform, but whoever ported it over, maybe is whether it's in-house or not, just didn't do a good job towards whatever platform. Maybe it's unstable, maybe it crashes a lot, whatever it is, maybe it just glitches. As well, it makes the game a lot harder to maintain. So yeah, this is something you understand, from a programming background. Like if you have like you can think about it like a version control system, right? Like in the main branch, you want to have one version. You don't have like one version, right? Everyone's working on that like one version essentially, right? That's like the desired goal is to have as little different versions as possible, right? You all want to work
Hmm.
on the same version, so like you can work on the same like sort of truth of the thing, if you get what I'm saying,
Hmm.
right? Um, if you have a port, right, the reason why you get bad ports a lot of times is that the like having a port that actually ports it for like a whole different system, right? It's going to require things to go differently. For example, I guess a very common thing is the key mapping, right? Using a controller and sometimes using a controller, you have like a sort of unique need for like weird optimizations, right? Because you don't have any buttons on a controller, unlike a keyboard where you have all 26 letters, all 10 numbers, all billion symbols, right? Yeah, so you have this problem where a lot of times games will be like, okay, so in order to do this thing, you have to tap this button twice instead of pressing it once because we know we need some way of you doing this without having to use extra buttons, or you need to press this
Hmm.
combination of buttons, whatever it is, or press this button which opens a menu. Oh, a good example is GTA. If you want to choose a weapon, like it's a very odd system on PC, right? This is more of
Yeah.
a normal thing on console where you press a button, it opens a wheel of weapons, and then you can just choose which one you want from there because you don't have like a trillion numbers to choose from like you have on keyboard for your weapon. So the reason why I do that is because porting is hard. And so if you had a system where the PC version was different and didn't have the same console thing, you essentially have two separate versions of the game now, right? And this is what I was talking about, the version control thing. Now if you want to update the game, you have to update both of these versions, which are slightly different, and you might run into certain problems that are platform specific because of like the weird way that you decided to change something. I was just talking about UI in that case, but there are other things too that you need to change to fit that sort of thing. And yeah, I can like that's one of the reasons why a lot of developers don't develop for Linux, for example, or for Mac, because even though they're still a computer in the same way that a Windows computer is a computer, you're still going to have unique glitches, and you're going to have a separate version of that game now because you need to fix the glitch only on this one thing because the code can't be the same for whatever reason, right? Especially if you're doing low level stuff, right? It's not going to be the same at all, right? If you're working in like a high level engine like Unity or Unreal Engine, at least probably be the same, but some things you still might have to fix because of just weird, odd platform quirks. And yeah, so having those two different like when you're trying to build upon the game, right, and you're updating the game and stuff like that, these versions are going to get more and more different, and you're going to get to points where like maybe the person is tasked with fixing this bug, and they're like, I don't even know how this part works because I didn't code it, and it's like a separate version that I have not been working on this entire time. So yeah, that's the problem with porting, and that's why ports are so bad a lot of times. Another good thing about exclusives is that the platform is essentially curated, right? So say for Xbox, Microsoft essentially says, yeah, this is a game that I am willing to like allow pass through and I'll sponsor it. I'll let it be an exclusive. and it curates the platform with supposedly good games, right? This solves the problem of what's called the indie apocalypse, which I hate the name of that, so I'm just going to call it the oversaturation problem, where indie developers have a problem where there's so many games in the market, so many of them are absolutely free, for example, right? Don't even like take minuscule in-app purchases, for example. How do you compete with those people, right? When there are so many of them, it's just like the supply is humongous and the demand isn't enough to saturate that supply. So it sort of makes your games a little bit more worthless in the eyes of more people, because they're like, oh, maybe this game is X amount of money, but I can just play this other game, right? It's cheaper, whatever. And there's an argument to whether this oversaturation problem actually exists. I'm going to say it does, and for the sake of argument, we're just going to assume it does. You notice that like the oversaturation problem is really mostly a problem on PC. That's like the context people talk about it on, right? Because go to Steam and you'll find like a stupid amount of games, because Steam used to curate their games, but they don't do that anymore. Now there's a Steam Greenlight doesn't exist anymore, right? I don't even know how it works anymore. I have no clue. However it works, it's not that hard to put your game on Steam. That's all I know. And so yeah, you have this problem. Whereas on Xbox, for example, right, the barrier to entry is a bit greater. With things like exclusives appearing, you're taking away games from the pool, right? So Xbox exclusives take away games from the pool of PlayStation games and PC games, right? It sort of solves this problem, right? Of sort of partitioning games into their separate platforms. And now it's easier as an indie developer to release a game for Xbox, for example, right? Because there are a lot less games on there. There's a lot less competition going on over there. Especially, there's like, you're not going to find those like free games on Xbox that are like, that are well made, but for some reason the developer just decided they want to underpay themselves this time. So yeah.
Yeah.
And the sort of side effect of this is that you can be somewhat more assured that the product you're buying is a bit more quality, right? Because whoever is deciding on the exclusives essentially gave the okay. They said, yeah, I'm willing to spend a couple $1,000s, tens of thousands of dollars to lock this game on my platform. I wanted this to be a selling point of my platform. I'm going to advertise the heck. They're also going to spend money on advertising too, right? They're gonna advertise the game for you, really.
Yeah.
They spend like some amount of money on advertising because they believe in the game, right? I mean, sometimes these don't turn out well, but oftentimes they do, right? The exclusive people are often out of touch with what makes a good game, so that can happen sometimes where it's just bad. But most time, it's just fine. Here comes the question: if all this stuff is so great, why don't people actually like it? So, like, it's like ubiquitously not liked amongst the consumers. And I was one of these people who were just like, oh yeah, this is bad, right? I can't play this on my platform, whatever.
Right.
But I don't think there should be a problem, right? Because nobody hates on games that are not paid exclusives, right? So, for example, let's take Minecraft and Counter-Strike, right? Both games that now they're cross-platform, but they were not cross-platform for a very, very long time, right? And Counter-Strike actually had a pretty good reason. It's just like, why would you play this on a console? That's really the reason.
Wait, can you now play Counter-Strike on console? Is that a thing?
Yes. It's so like, why?
That's bizarre.
It's like this is not like it's like not the kind of game, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I understand. I'm not saying there should be no shooters on consoles. I think there should be, right? But like Counter-Strike, it's such a weird like like it's all about like the like the millisecond reaction.
The one
times,
pixel,
Yeah. Like every frame matters kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Right on Xbox is a bit, like it sounds awkward. You see someone, you're like pulling on the stick trying to look at them.
Yeah. Gotta buy the Xbox branded keyboard and mouse,
Oh yeah, they now allow they didn't used to allow keyboard and mice on consoles, because that would be a bit OP if you were playing a shooter and you were the only person with a keyboard and mouse. You're probably just going to win by default, right? But now they allow that on Xbox, which is a strange play in my opinion. I get it in some sense, right? People want to play on the keyboard, but like you kind of screw over a lot of people with that one. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting if they had it locked so that you can only play like shooters. You can only play with maybe the game could know what you're using, right? So if you have a keyboard plugged in, you'd be like, nah, you can't play this. Or maybe you can play like a keyboard-only lobby, for example, or like a mixed lobby. That'd be interesting. Instead of like forcing everyone to endure the pain of being destroyed right now. But yeah, nobody hates Minecraft and Counter-Strike for being PC exclusives for like a really long time. Also, Counter-Strike is also owned by Valve, so it also makes a lot of sense why you left it on the Steam and put it anywhere else. So why is it a problem that's only like this would be a problem if someone was paying Minecraft or Counter Strike to keep it on the platform. People would be like, oh, this is now paid exclusive. So my reasoning as to why they don't like this is because people just don't like developers making money. Is what's pretty much my takeaway. I'm like, there's so many problems in the game industry. That's just like people just don't like the idea of developers making more money than they do already. I guess, which is already like not a lot relative to how much they should make. You know, you'd be like, oh, but like EA is making like $7 trillion every 7 days or whatever, right? It's like there's not a majority of like of the community, and even then, based on their sales, they're not making as much as you think they would. You know, like
Yeah.
sell some stupid amount of games of like Battlefield copies, for example, right? Need for Speed, EA Sports, that's crazy. EA Sports is crazy. It's millions, right? The money they make, like you think they'd be like, I mean, they're actually giants, right? But like you think they have more. So
Yeah.
very strange. Like it's weird how I mean, I guess it's good in a sense, but it's weird how like every failure actually affects them in some way. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like in a deeper way. It's like actually a deep cut. You know what I'm saying? Like if a game flops, it's not like, oh well, all right, we'll just pump out. It's not like Marvel, right? Where it's like we'll
Yeah.
just keep making these things over and over, or Disney in general, I guess. We'll just keep making these things over and over. If it fails, like all right, whatever. It really did not matter.
Yeah. Is it
Did not
because
matter that
games are just that much more expensive and these companies aren't nearly as large? So like games expensive, companies smaller. So it's like, I mean, I have to really actually tread
Yeah.
lightly.
And oversaturation problem, right? Like the percentage of people who have watched a Marvel movie in the past year is probably insane, right? The percentage of people
Yeah.
who played an EA game in the past year is like not that insane. I played one EA game in the past year. I mean, given if the movie theaters were open, I would not be surprised if I'd seen two Marvel movies, like or two Disney movies, I should say, like within the past year, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty insane. And and the game, like, yeah, the cost is just like messed up. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah.
People just don't, I don't know. They're like, it's like, oh, they're intentional. Like the thing is, like this happens, like indie developers don't tend to port because it's expensive, right? But no, like in the same sense, they're making more money by not porting, by not making it on one platform, right? The only
Yeah.
difference in this scenario is that someone's giving them money instead of they're just saving, right? I guess sort of
Yeah.
both. They're both saving and someone's giving them money, right? At the same time, they lose customers. So it's, I don't know, whatever. I don't get why this is any different than anything else. I think it's just healthy for the market in general. Solves those oversaturation problem. Solves like it's specifically indie developers not having too much, not having enough money. And a lot of them get like big breaks from like these exclusive deals because like oh finally I have the resources to make something good, right?
Hmm.
Because essentially they act like a publisher. You pitch your game to them, and they're like, "Oh, great, I'll give you money." The publisher usually have to give the money back somehow, right? You pay a percentage back, for example. Whereas I guess a exclusive on a console is a lot less risky because you just pay. They pay you, and you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
I don't think they tend to have like contracts where they lose creative freedom over what they're doing. Unlike a publisher where you can actually lose like some creative freedom over what you're doing. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it again goes back into the gaming industry doesn't really communicate very well with people. They'll just kind of ignore people when they say, "Oh, why is this exclusive?" and they'll just not say anything. It's like, why don't you just say it's because it makes economic sense and here's why? I mean,
yeah.
what can people say to that? Like, no.
Yeah, Naughty Dog just said, they could just like all they could say is like, this will make our game better, right? And it's like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? More money
Yeah,
equals more good, probably.
right, exactly. Just explain. It's really that simple. And if people reject your explanation, I mean, they're stupid. So I don't really know. I
Mhm.
don't even know what to say.
Oh, I like to point out, I was thinking about like the fact that I played an EA game. I only played it because it was free. To be clear.
Wait, what game was it?
It was Battlefront. It was free for like, free to keep for whatever time Epic Games had it going. Also,
Ah,
I
I
like to
gotcha.
point out that like Steam is sort of like if we're not going to knock on like PC exclusives, I think we should more than we should console exclusives because they're a lot worse. Like Valve in particular, it's just like pretty nasty as a company towards developers. Not like they like outwardly like mistreating people in a way. I mean, sort of. They just don't like people just don't get paid essentially, right?
Oh,
Not within. I mean, like the developers, right? Like Steam takes 30%, whatever. Consoles take 30%. That's fine, right? Then like they don't help, like, in the fact that, like, it's more like they just, like, it's more about the quantity, right? Not about the quality, right? Epic
Mm.
Games, I say, is like the other way around, right? Like, we have the good games, right? We have exclusives, whatever, right? Steam was like, we're gonna put every single game on this thing, and like, it literally doesn't care if these studios die. Like,
It's kind of like Amazon almost. Like it's just
Mhm.
like the store for literally anything you want
Yeah,
to get your
exactly.
hands on.
Yeah, which is a problem because oversaturation, and also like these Steam sales are actually bad because you're
Oh,
just teaching people that, like, just wait. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm.
if you like, a majority of the sales are always sold for every single game. Majority of the sales are always during the sale time, and the sales
Does
are like.
the does the developer have a choice in whether their game goes on sale or not, or
I
is
was
that
actually reading
just
on that earlier. Doesn't seem so. Seems like actually
what?
just like, apparently nobody knows what games will go on sale except the Steam employees, which I'm like, what? Steam also won't let you sell your game for a cheaper price at another store.
Wait. That's the biggest L of Steam of all. Then, if your game could randomly go on sale and you could lose money on your game
I
because it
think,
just
sorry, this is for the big sales. I'm pretty sure, like, outside the big sales, I'm pretty sure it's up to you. I'm not
okay.
entirely sure, right? But from what I was reading, it seems like the person that nobody knows except the Steam employees is like, huh, wow, for the big sales, very specifically, right? I
I
was
see.
wondering, I was like, why did they do that? Why did they do that to themselves? I don't think they do that to themselves. I think it's
Yeah.
forced upon them because no one likes this. You know what I'm saying? No developer is like, oh, hooray, sale time.
Yeah, especially because sometimes there'll be like games that are popping off on sale, but then they'll be on sale. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure you could get the same amount of sale. Well, not the same amount, but you get sufficient sales normally because this is like in the conversation game right now, you know. And then I'll be surprised it's like 40% off, and I'm like, okay. I mean, interesting.
It's crazy. Sometimes games will increase their price right before it goes on sale. So when it goes on sale, if it goes on sale, then the price is more normal, which is illegal, to be
Interesting.
clear, in many countries.
Oh
But
wow, I didn't even know
yeah,
that. I didn't know that was illegal. Wow.
yeah, no, you can't. Laws vary, but you can't in certain places. You can't. I don't know what it's like in the U.S. Maybe it's, I don't know if it's per state or however it is, but I'm not even sure it's a thing here. But I know in some places definitely you can't raise the price before you put it on a sale.
Yeah, seems a bit shady.
Yeah, I think GTA did that. It's one of the things that did that. I'm like, that's not like, it's kind of a scam. I get why I did that. That's definitely a scam, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you put it on the platform, you agree to the things, right? Like, you knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's very odd because it's GTA, right? Like, are you really not gonna buy GTA because it's not on Steam? Would you really be upset if it's on Epic Games instead? It's GTA. Come on, just buy it there instead.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, they could probably just Rockstar could probably just make their own store, and they
Yeah,
have
definitely.
enough clout to just pull people onto their store.
All right. I have a bit of news. Xbox Game Pass is not coming to other consoles in the quote near future. I mean, I figure it never come because, like, why would it? Right? Literally Xbox Game Pass,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the Xbox's selling point. Oh, those are Xbox exclusives. I just realized. But yeah, or Xbox/PC exclusives. Some of them, not all of them. The title says in the near future, right? I'm trying to see if they ever actually say near future, just never. You know what I'm saying? It could be misleading title because, like, I don't get why would ever, like, why would that happen?
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense.
The quote is, evolution always takes time. Oh gosh, no, is he actually going to do it? There are different strengths that different companies have built through hard work. Some of these changes they might see as disruptive, and they'll have their own kind of business cadence and pace at which they can make those changes. In the end, when we want everybody to be able to play on Xbox, we really mean if you can bring the full experience to the device the player wants. We're totally open to discussions. All right, I mean, I'm gonna call some BS on that, honestly, but that was Phil Spencer. That's one of the head dudes of Xbox.
Interesting. Really interesting to see how they go about that.
I don't know, dude. There's no way. Why would they do that? It actually acts their
I think
console. Right?
I think in the corporate boardroom, what they're thinking is, if we could become the Netflix of the game world, we'll have auto money for the rest of our
Is
lives.
Netflix doing good though? No.
Or okay, I guess the Disney Plus of the game world.
Yeah, but that's Disney. Okay.
They
Your
want to own as
Xbox.
much as Disney does in the gaming space by buying up everything and then producing garbage for the rest of.
I don't know, man. There's like Sony also buying,
That's
everything as
true.
well. Nintendo buying everything as well. The
Yeah,
PC platform exists. I don't know. It seems impractical.
yeah, it's a bit of a different landscape. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're thinking anyway. Let's be the Disney Plus of the gaming world.
Big ambitions.
All right, cool. Well, you're welcome to follow us on Twitch. We have VOD enabled, so if you want to check out the stream after it comes down, it will be there immediately. Twitch is actually pretty cool with that. It just immediately appears, whereas YouTube, it takes a long time to process. On YouTube, we have a YouTube channel as well, so you can go check us out there and subscribe. Our episodes, finally edited and looking nice and all that kind of stuff, will come out throughout the week. We're also in audio-only form, as this is a podcast, and I don't think I plugged that enough. So you can check out links to your favorite podcasting platform, including Spotify, in the description. And last but not least, if you want to continue the conversation, join our Discord. Yeah, Nathan just put the links in the chat right there. We have a fun time there, just talking about art all week. It's growing by the week. You can also submit games, music, short films. I would even say photography if you want, 3D models, branding work that you're doing.
Really, any art, really.
Yeah, just post your art there, and there's a good chance, very good chance, that we'll review it in the future. So join our Discord. It's a fun time. And with that, I guess have a good week. Peace out.
All right, have a good day. Thanks for showing up.
Bye.
Bye.